Hi guys, it's Paula and I hope you are doing well. This is going to be my monthly update for Pan and Every Palette. This project has been done many times with many different names, but this particular hashtag, Pan and Every Palette, was created by Lady Pansalot over on Instagram, and it is a group collab, so I will have her Instagram account linked down below, along with other people that I know of that have been doing this project along the way. I hope you check them out and subscribe to their YouTube channels or follow their Instagram accounts if you like their content. I love project panners out there. Nothing makes me happier than to find other project panners out there. So I hope you like them as much as I do. I've been doing this project for a very long time. And at this moment, I am working on 3 palettes at a time, 2 face palettes and an eyeshadow palette. And I'm tracking my usage to see how many uses it takes to hit pan on any product I put in this project. Unfortunately, I do not have any new pan in this project for today, but I would still like to hop on here and show you my progress and talk about how many uses I got out of these palettes and discuss pan percentage, because even though I didn't meet any goals in this project, my pan percentage did go up a little bit over the past month. So let's talk about these palettes. The palette that I've used the least over the past month is my eyeshadow palette. This is my Too Faced Razzle Dazzle Berry eyeshadow palette. I am wearing the shade I'm trying to hit pan on today on my eyelid. And this is the second time I've used this eyeshadow over the past month. I did it yesterday and I did it today, squeaking in a couple uses before this update because I've been just focusing on other eyeshadows that are in other projects. But this is where I'm currently at with this shadow. I do feel like, I feel like I'm getting there. What I can say is that I love this shadow. I love it very, very, very much. And so every time I do use it, it's an absolute joy. I just feel like it looks like liquid metal on my eyelids and I love it. I feel like this is a very unique formula compared to every other shadow I own. I can't think of anything I own that is quite like this eyeshadow. It is really a special, special formula. And I've always said it, but Too Faced needs to come out with a palette that is just all these shadows, all that formula, and I would be lining up around the block to purchase it because it's really a good formula. I like it a lot. It's so soft and smooth. It's not a cream, but it almost feels, but it is super creamy. Like it feels like a cream, but it's not a cream, but it's kind of a cream. Like it's this cream powder hybrid, and I like it a lot. But I only got 2 uses with this palette over the last month, so I will continue working towards hitting pan. After that Too Faced palette, the palette that I use the most is the palette that just rolled in at last month's update. This is the BH Cosmetics Dark Rose palette. A lot of you guys mentioned that you've never seen this palette before, and that doesn't surprise me because it's probably a very old palette. I'm just gonna say it. It's an oldie. I don't know if I got this as a gift with purchase from an order on the BH Cosmetics website or if it was like a clearanced out palette that was at such a reduced price that I couldn't pass it up when I was placing an order for something else. I know I wasn't intending to buy this palette, but I got it and I was excited to be working on it. And of course, I was excited to own it because I'm excited to own everything. And I've never really used it much. So this is what the palette looks like. I'm working on this blush right here. It's kind of like a peachy, yeah, it's just it's like an orangey peach. There's nothing, it's not a pinky peach, it's an orangey peach. But I'm also panning a pinky pink blush, and I felt like this was a nice counter to that. I'm wearing the pink blush today, but I have used this blush 7 times, and I did use this other more dusty rosy blush 1 time over the past month, and I've really been enjoying both of those blushes a lot. It's definitely looking used now a little bit. I mean, it's not pristine like it was. And I have no idea how deep these pans are. It's in one of these like packages that makes you think it's the deepest pan ever, but I know it's not, but I don't actually know how deep these pans are. I do get quite a bit of kick up every time I use that shade, and it's not the deepest shade. So I can apply a little bit more powder each time I use this blush than I normally would with other more pigmented blushes. So I'm hopeful it won't take forever to hit pan on this, but I feel like I have a long way to go still. I haven't used any of the eyeshadows and I haven't used this blush yet. Yeah, I'm focusing in on one of these two, and ultimately I think this is the one I'd like to focus on to hit pan. And the final palette that I've been working on in this project is my Tarte Clay Play Volume 2 palette. And I'm working on this shade right here called Solstice. I've been using this as an under eye setting powder. Love the product. It's a real joy. According to my notes, I used this 18 times over the past month. I say this every month, but I find that hard to believe, which makes me suspect that I forgot to mark tallies a few days. And if I forgot to mark tallies on this for a few days, I probably forgot to mark tallies on everything. So all I can go on is what I actually write down on paper. But according to my paper, I used this 18 times over the past month. If I say so, I mean, I don't know. But when I look at the overall amount of usages I've had with this particular shade so far since rolling it into this project, I'm right about at the halfway point compared to where I was with the same shadow in the Clay Play Volume 1 palette. So it ultimately took me 74 uses to hit pan on the Clay Play Volume 1, and right now I'm around 38 uses with this palette. So that's really exciting. I think that I'm about halfway towards hitting pan on this if the amount of uses it takes me to hit pan on this one is close to the amount of uses it took for the Volume 1. So that's exciting. There is a dip forming for sure. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a small dip compared to the dip I need to have to hit pan. But there is a little bit of a dip. Like I said, I really like this powder. After doing my inventory, I was looking at all of my palettes in my photos, and it turns out I only have one more palette without pan that has a powder that I could potentially use as an under eye setting powder. And after that, I can't put a face powder in this project. So I'll have to switch to either a bronzer or a highlighter or another eyeshadow or something. But the category of face powders is going to be out after the next palette that I put into this project to replace this shadow. So that's a little scary because that's typically been the palette that I have the most progress on. I switch up my blush, I switch up my eyeshadow, but I use the same under eye setting powder every single day. So I don't know what exactly I'm going to do when that day comes, but for now, I'm still working on this, and I have one more palette that I could dip into once I hit pan on this. So I'm not going to worry about that too much yet, but I am a little bit worried about that. So 18 more uses for this shade right here, at least. I mean, I think it's more like 25, but how did I forget to mark 7 days worth of tallies? And what does that mean for project 10 uses? I don't know. But let's talk about pan percentage. Over the past 6 months or so, I have been keeping track of my pan percentage since the name of this project is Pan in Every Palette, and my long-term goal is to one day have a pan showing in every palette I own. I'm trying to monitor my percentage towards getting a pan in every palette. Now, obviously, I did not hit any pans in these 3 over the past month, but I did hit a new pan in a palette that never had pan before over the past month. I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but I also don't think you're going to be too surprised to hear this, but it's one of the palettes that I'm panning in my Pan That palette that I hit pan on over the past month. So you will see that in a couple of days, but that means I now have 29 palettes in my collection with 1 or more pans. I have a total of 388 palettes in my collection overall. So that brings my pan percentage from 7.2% to 7.4%. We're creeping up there. I'm very excited. I feel good that the pan percentage has gone up, even though it's only a percentage of a percentage point. Does that make sense? I think so. Even if it's only a percentage of a percentage point, I'm still happy the pan percentage went up. Take a shot every time I say the word percentage. So I'm happy with that progress. I'm gonna keep working on these 3 palettes, and hopefully, maybe, you never know, maybe I'll have some pan for you next month. We will see. But thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.